Now's a good time for you people to pause, go pee, come back and watch the rest of this. You're going to love it.
Thankful for editing.
And now a word from our sponsor.
Hey, what's up? I'm Big Ben, and today I'm snacking and yakking with Andy Forrester. He's a comedian and also a graphic artist, but mainly a really funny comedian. Just joking, your art's really awesome. And I had a pleasure of working with you in March at Honky Tonk in Ladson, South Carolina.
Yeah, that was my first honky tonk I've ever performed at, and it was, I think the most interesting part was they literally were like, you have to end at 9:00. And like, I got off stage, they instantly had the floor cleared where all the tables and seats were, and people were already boot, scoot, and boogie, and a bus, like, it was not like well attended, like there could have been way more people there.
Right.
And then the moment the comedy ended, a busload of ladies showed up.
That place filled up fast.
The moment the comedy ended, which is exactly what you want when you're doing comedy, is for it to get busy after the show. That's what you want. And these ladies were walking up. There were so many. They were like outside lined up. And there's my face on a flyer outside. And they were whispering to each other as I walk out and pointing at me. And I knew this. So I turn and go, yeah, it's me. And they were like, are you doing a show? I'm like, I just did. Where were you? And
now I asked the owner right after that. I said, hey, so what's like the cover to get in here? And he's like, no cover. And I was thinking, because you could totally run the, hey, come to the comedy show, stay for free.
Yeah.
Like, I'm always thinking of that kind of stuff. And he was like, no cover. As like girl after girl is just walking in, and I'm like,
yeah,
there's just no real way to do that. Although, like I said, I've worked for Tony in many different clubs in this area back when I used to tour around a lot more. I lived in Maryland. Whenever I'd come down here, he'd put me at whatever place he was running at that time. So it was like Comedy Zone, and then different ones. And so he's got this place, and I was like, hey, do you remember me? And he was like, I think. And then I got a chance to open for Janet Williams.
Oh, yeah, the Tennessee Tramp.
Yep, I did a little guest spot for her, and apparently was good enough to be able to do more time for you. But yes, they were clock watching us hard.
Yeah, they were like, this better end, because we have, and it's funny, there's a Comedy Zone in Greensboro, North Carolina, and if you come to the comedy show, you get tickets for the boot scoot, I call it that, don't get offended, the boot scoot and boogie place across the parking lot, because the guy who owns the club owns that the dance club as well.
That's pretty cool.
And so one time a dude comes in, and I go on stage, and he puts his feet up on the stage like the moment I get there, and I was like, are you here for your boot scoot and boogie tickets? He was like, yeah. And I just look at the door and go, get him his tickets and get him out, man, because I don't need this. Like, the guy put his feet down after that. I was like, like, if you either came to have fun or not. But so, yeah. So I think they could. I think they could do that at the Honky Tonk. They could be like, hey, come for the comedy show, stay for the, like, people who are regulars might know, like, well, you always get in free if, is it
like you can hold over.
Yeah.
Just don't leave. Just come in for one and stay. Right.
Yeah. Get all.
See, and you've done enough shows. I mean, you've been enough places. You've been doing this long enough, because we discussed that backstage.
Yeah.
That you can see what works and what doesn't, but unfortunately, guys like Tony, guys like any of the bookers, are really kind of, I think, stuck with what the owner wants too.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a problem. So like, if he's like, nope, this and this and this, and you're like, but I guess you can only do what you can do. The thing that I remember talking to you backstage was you came from an improv side of things.
Yeah. So I started I had always, I had always felt like I wanted to do it. I was a DJ on the radio in college.
Really?
Yes, I was a DJ on the radio.
You didn't tell me that.
Yeah. So I was
withholding.
I was a DJ on the radio, and if you've ever heard college radio, it can be very static. Like, I remember my first shift, I just was like, hey, it's 7 a.m. Here's ministry, and then I would just play whatever, and I had to have the cops let me into the radio station and that kind of thing, because it was early in the morning. And eventually I worked my way up where when it was my senior year in college, they had given me my own show. I picked my time slot, and they let me play whatever I wanted, and I got to bring music from home. or for my dorm room, and I had an eclectic a selection of music because I loved old school rap music. I
Oh
grew up
yeah.
on that. So I would bring in like old school rap, and then I'd have like a Winnie the Pooh record, and then I had a friend who had a Jimmy Dean record, the guy who makes sausage. He put out music. So there's this awesome thing. I know I'm veering away from the question you asked.
Oh, you're fine. Go.
But there's this awesome song on Jimmy Dean's record. If you've ever seen the Palantir All Fruit commercials they used to have years
would you
ago,
please pass the jelly?
that is based on this song, which is not a song. It's him talking, and he's sitting around the table going, "Would you please pass the biscuits?" And then he's just sitting there going, "All I want's a biscuit, but won't nobody pass me one." And my buddy like shared this with me. I was like, "Oh, I'm taking this to the radio station." So I would play it and all this, like just have fun. And my show was like, I love the music, but I would have fun and do stuff in between and things like that. And I got a call one day from this guy named Chris Dim. Well, Chris Dim was half of Brad and Chris on the classic rock station in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Jeez.
And he listened to my show. And I'm like, "What are you doing listening to my show?" He goes, "You're hilarious." And he goes, "I listen to college radio the same reason everybody else
Awesome.
does." So he actually, after I graduated, got me a job on Rock 92, and I was working in the middle of the night, and they didn't want me to be silly, but at 3 a.m, in my head, nobody's listening. So
Right. Who's going to stop you?
I would record myself playing random people on the little machine, and I played Have You Seen an Alien? And so I was like, like, "Hey, so you saw an alien?" "There I was. It's me and Margaret. And somebody sucked up our goat," and things like that. And so I would just have fun. And then, so my wife and I moved away, but when we moved back to the Raleigh area where we live, we went to an improv show. There's a chain of improv places called Comedy Sports.
I've heard of, yeah.
And at the time,
in D.C.
Yeah. So there was one in Raleigh, and the guy owned one in Chapel Hill.
Okay.
And I started at the one in Chapel Hill because it was a chain. He eventually didn't want to pay for the rights, so he just changed the name to Comedy Works, and we still did the same kind of show. But that's how I started. That was in '99, and so I started doing that, and I did it for about 10 years, but I did it, fairly regularly for about 5 or 6, and at the 6-year mark, I finally went and tried stand-up at Goodnights in Raleigh, North Carolina. And when they brought me on stage at Goodnights, they were like, "It's his first time ever, so y'all take it easy on him."
That's so...
Yeah, and I was like, I'm not gonna tell them anything. So I got up, and it went fairly well because I don't have stage fright. I didn't have stage fright when I started doing improv, but I probably had a little, but I just don't have problem acting a fool. And so, I'm witnessing all these comedians as I meet them. They all have to have several beers or get high or whatever before they get on stage so they can be comfortable. And I'm like, "No, I have no problem with that." So these comics come up to me after the show, and they were like, "Are you sure it's your first time? This is pretty good, man."
I got that too at the open mic nights when I started.
Yeah, "You sure it's your first time?" I was like, "Yeah, it's my first time here." And then I, revealed months later, I was like, "Yeah, I've been doing improv for like 6 years, so I don't, I've had some stage experience." And that
I
kind of
had
thing.
come from stage plays in school.
Yeah.
So I had no stage fright. I was Shlomo Metzenbaum in Fame.
Nice.
Yeah, I look
Nice.
Jewish, don't I? Big old
Is
Irish kid.
that a name? Is that the whole name?
That's the whole name, Shlomo Metzenbaum.
Good gosh.
I was in a bunch
You
of plays.
cannot get more Jewish than that. Who named that? Was that like in the movie?
I think it was in the movie.
Oh, wow.
I don't remember.
I really hope that the whole movie was written by a Jewish person, because if not, that sounds like, what's the most Jewish name we can get? Like, yeah.
Shlomo Metzenbaum.
Come on, man.
That was what
Wow.
I played. And like I said, I mean, as a kid, I was the shoemaker in Elves and the Shoemaker.
Yeah.
Like, I was in plays my whole...
You were an elf?
No, yeah. The biggest elf you've ever seen. I piggybacked all the other elves.
I'm an elf.
They were like, "That's so cool. He's like 3 elves in a trench coat." And it's like, no, it's just me. 10 minutes in, I want to make sure we get to the snacking part of Snackin and Yakkin.
Oh, yeah.
So, as I told you, so Snackin and Yakkin thought it'd be clever that we snack while we yak.
Yeah.
And I asked the guest, what is your favorite snack? And also, what would you like to drink with it? But mainly, what is your favorite snack? And Andy, right here, he said, I I ask everybody when I come down to the South, please bring me pralines. He said, but I know they're expensive. And I said, dude, if Andy Forrester wants pralines, Andy Forrester gets pralines.
I did a show down here one time because I joke about it like online. I'm like, hey, feel free to show up with pralines and stuff. And I have a friend from high school that lives down here, and if I come down here, I'll be like, hey, you gonna bring?
Well, she was at the show.
She was at the show, yeah. So I'll be like, hey, you bring
Very
me
nice.
some pralines, and she's like, you're ridiculous with that. And she says that, but she's ridiculous with Sundrop because you can't get Sundrop down here apparently, and it's a Mountain Dew like drink that they created up where we lived. And so if
I believe Tracy Morgan was the voice of that back in the day. He was like, Sundrop! Like,
highly possible.
I really think that was him. I remember a voice. I remember hearing a distinct voice that sounded like Tracy Morgan for Sundrop.
That's highly possible. But I joke about it all the time. So I'm doing a show one time down here a few years back, and I'm near the market.
Right.
And is that what it's called? The market?
Yeah, they just call it the market.
The market.
City market.
So I'm near the market doing this show, and I'm joking about pralines, and everybody's having fun with it. And like 3/4 of the way through the show, pralines show up because somebody in the audience owns the place or works at the place where they make them and calls there and says, hey, can you have somebody come down and send some pralines
right.
down
And
here?
there was a place on Market that I was going to go to, and as I started to do a little research, because I definitely want to support local businesses as much as possible with the snacking on the show. And so, I'm sorry, Snackin
Snackin.
on the show. And but a lot of people, man, they were talking about this place called Sweet Juleps.
Nice.
And the fact that we're talking about julep, I'm thinking, well, that sounds southern as crap.
Yeah.
It's in Mount Pleasant, right there, and by the movie theater. It's really they could not have been nicer. And the thing was I was trying. I do like what everybody does when you go on Amazon. You try and find the bad reviews. Or you try and find. You just want not everything is glowing. I couldn't find anybody to say anything bad about this place, and I tried too. I was like, say something bad. They were like, I won't. But they were very nice. Not a sponsor. Didn't get these for free, and wouldn't even have accepted it if so, because I believe in supporting local businesses. But they individually wrapped them, and they are huge.
Look at that. Those are awesome.
The biggest pralines I've ever seen.
Nice.
And I made sure to individually wrap them because I don't wish to eat this whole box with you, and these are for you to take. These are for you to take with you. But
it's so funny because I'll buy some. I'll come down, I'll buy some, and it's always buy a pound, get a half a pound for free or something. And I'm like, yeah, let's do that, and the price of everything goes up. I get it, but I've done that, and I'll just snap them off as I drive, and I'll just eat them, and I'll get home, and my wife will be like, "Did you save us any?" I was like, "Yeah, there's like one. Oh, there's one left in there." So yeah,
I walked in, and they were like, "Hi, welcome to Sweet Julep. Would you like to try a sample of our homemade pralines?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Actually, that is what I came to buy."
Yeah.
And they were like, "Really?" I said, "But I will try a sample."
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no way I'm turning down a free sample.
Yeah.
My shopping at Costco takes about 3.5 hours because I can't turn down a free sample. Is it as
it's
good
good.
as? Yeah.
It's good. Ben, do you like? Ben is our producer, and I say our producer. I'm just a guest on the show.
Would you like one? No.
It's like, have you had a praline before? Do you like them? Oh, good.
Now here's the thing. I'm gonna get him his own mic eventually.
Yeah.
But what you're seeing is exactly what you get. He could not be the opposite, more the opposite of me. My producer, Ben, is my son, Ben. And he is quiet like his mother. And his little sister, Bridget, is out of control like me.
Don't let Ben fool you. He's just talking about himself. There's nobody over there. When he's like, "Oh, it's my son, Ben." Sure it is.
Oh, sure
it is.
Sure, here we go, Mr. Split Personality, Mr. Hallucinating.
That's awesome.
This is really good. The pecans, the small chopped pecans.
I like it. I like it. Different
than
the
whole pecans. I've had them with the whole pecans.
Yeah,
but this is really nice. Now, pecan, the big debate.
There are three ways to pronounce it. I know this. I've looked it up for many years.
Correct. Now, do you prefer? Because I switch it. I found out I switch it depending on what I'm talking about.
I typically call it pecan every time.
Okay.
Because this will sound so bad because I've lived in the South my whole life. Most of my Tennessee is the South. I was born in Memphis, Tennessee, but I've lived in North Carolina most of my life. But I try not to sound super Southern, not like on purpose, just I don't walk around going, hey, man, how y'all doing? So if I did talk like this, I'd call it a pecan because it just fits right in. But for me, it's pecan. And then I would hear the debate over the years. So I finally looked it up one day, and it's like there are 3 ways you can pronounce it. I've probably heard about a dozen, but it's yeah, because people are like pecan, pecan, pecan. Trying to think that there's several, and to me, if I hear somebody say pecan, I'm like, well, that's how you say it, and I say pecan, and all of it's fine. But I've heard people get angry about it, and I'm like, it's okay.
The only thing I say pecan with is butter pecan ice cream.
Oh yeah, see,
that's what I say. But if it's pecan pie, I say pecan pie.
And that makes sense.
Clusters, but I don't say like pecan clusters. But it follows butter. It just flows nicer.
Yeah,
butter pecan. It just sounds.
I agree.
I think it sounds better.
I agree, and
flows.
I love butter pecan.
I did when I was a kid, very much.
Yeah.
I would live for those little clusters that would show up in it. Man.
So good. It's so good. And, I think some people are like, that's an old person's ice cream. I don't care. I like it.
I did a lot of old people stuff. I eat boring brand cereals. I loved that stuff when I was a kid. I did a lot of old people stuff.
Yeah.
Crispix. I would eat stuff. I don't know
why.
Yeah,
I love
everybody likes Captain Crunch.
As long as there's enough sugar you threw on it, but I love Crispix. It was good. I love Chex Mix, and I love it, except they should just label it, I hope you like pretzels. And because it's very pretzely, and I'm like, look, I like a couple of pretzels, but I have learned over the years, trail mix, Chex Mix, anything with the word mix in it, they are fluffing it up with some pretzels. And the good stuff is I hope you get 2 M&Ms.
Right. Trail mix is terrible.
Yeah.
My kids, technically my son, he would eat all of the M&Ms out of the trail mix.
Oh, yeah.
So we buy that big bag of Kirkland, and then there'd be no M&Ms in it.
I'm familiar. I got kids. Yeah.
Yeah. So your kids are grown now, right? Your kids are.
I have one that's 23. She just graduated college. Her name is Alexa, older than the device. We are not that dumb.
God, so you call her.
I wanted to call her Alexandria, and my wife's like that. My wife was like, that's way too long of a name for anybody to have, Alexandria Forrester. And so we settled on Alexa, loved it. And then, I don't know, it was 7 years after she was born, they were like, the Amazon Alexa. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And I can't remember when it was invented, but
I know, right? But we don't have any Siris. I don't know of anybody who would be named Siri.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a common name at all. So
is
Alexa,
that Tom Cruise's kid?
Oh, you know what? You're about to make a liar out of me.
I'm just saying. Right. I think it was one of those things where
Siri Cruise. I think you're exactly right. I had never heard that name, so I thought if you're going to choose something that is going to listen to you all the time and respond when you call it,
right?
Why give it even close to a name that would exist?
Yeah, we can't. We can't have an Alexa in our house because we don't.
This is a Roku Michael.
Yeah.
That's going to be problematic.
Yeah. We can't have it. We have a Google Dot, but we don't have an Alexa because I don't need a machine yelling at me going, stop yelling at me. I don't have a room to clean.
Isn't it pretty much though? It tries to pitch you stuff.
Yeah.
I think the Amazon one is you would just sit here and go, I'm so frustrated with this dang remote, and it's like, would you like me to buy you another one? It's like, oh my God, no.
Yeah.
No.
I've never had one, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I have been to other people's houses, talked about my daughter, and the machine will be like, they had a storm, and so they had reconnected it. So it just kept chiming in while we were chatting and be like, I'm sorry, I currently can't search for that right now. I was like, dude, stop. So I think I changed her name to Margaret. And so I would be like, so anyway, Margaret was, yeah. So.
Well, I was going to tell you, so I have a Patreon, and my top tier patrons, they got perks like, hey, look at me, which is these photos here. But one of the things they also do is they get a sneak peek as to who my guest is.
Oh, okay.
So this episode won't air till the 16th. We premiere on the 16th of June.
Got it.
We're recording in advance, as you know, as anybody will figure out.
Yes.
But they find out who you were. So I said, feel free to ask a question. One person asked a question. It's not exactly personal to you, but it is a good question. So if you wouldn't mind answering it, you don't have to. I used to do
It used to be an innie, now it's an outie.
All right, moving on. That was easy.
When you get so fat, it's like sorry,
like
that's
the
not
turkey timer.
Yeah, it's like a turkey timer. Your belly button pops out. Like, you're done. Stop. All right. Sorry.
So this guy Trevor used to be I used to have a podcast based around EMS because my day job is a paramedic.
Okay.
Now, until this is
takes off.
Become famous
Any day now.
Any day. For what is this? The first 20 minutes of my show.
It's
the
great,
first
man.
20
It's
minutes
great.
ever. We're talking about
We got
being
pecans
famous.
in our teeth. It's good, man. We're having a blast.
So Trevor I used to ask people a question of the day, and then people would type, comment, call in. I had a phone line, and one of the guys was TJ from Michigan. He's a member of the Patreon. He calls it Q8 Kids because he has 8 kids. And he wants them to see their name on the end of the show and go,
Wow.
Well, that's us.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I had asked that now he passed back to me to ask to you was gas station. Okay. We, just as much as in EMS, as much as being on the road comic, we go to gas stations a lot. It's very similar. We spend a lot of time on the road. Your thing, a lot more bloody and chaotic than probably my career. A lot more death and destruction. But if you had to pick 3 things to kind of make a meal, when you try and make a meal on the road, as opposed to just grabbing, a bag of chips and going, when you're like, man, I really should have some protein in this mix. I really should have, what would be your 3, what would make your meal at a gas station?
I think this is hilarious because I have been thinking for years about how insane, I know I am, and I assume other people are, when it comes to going into a gas station and getting food, because first of all, I don't eat anything that rolls. So if you're eating a roller dog or a roller taquito or whatever, I can't bring myself to do that. It's not my thing. If I want a hot dog or Mexican, I might as well just go to a fast food place. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's how I was brought up that you don't eat food from a gas station.
Right.
We were not a rich or bougie family, but it was I don't even know if they ever said it. Just somehow I never went and got pizza at the gas station.
Well, you didn't grow up in the land of Wawa or anything like that.
Yeah,
right?
we didn't have that.
Because those have a full deli. That's
right,
a different.
Right. Sheets has
something that would be microwaved or something that would have been microwaved earlier. Yeah, leery.
But the funny part is I go into a gas station and I buy things that I would never buy anywhere else. Just never, ever. And then I go into a gas station and I'm like, yeah, let's do that. Let's buy a bag. So, I've eaten combos since I was a kid.
I love combos.
And they are awesome, but I never buy them when I'm at home. Never. But if I'm on the road and I'm going all right, I want something salty, I'm going to get some combos. Not always, but often I have gotten.
What's your one?
I like pizza flavored anything.
Now,
so.
the pizza cracker or the
I
pizza
know,
pretzel?
I know. If they have pizza pretzel, I prefer that.
I do
even
too.
though
Pizza
I don't
pretzel all the way.
I don't love pretzels. Somehow pizza pretzel is the original in my mind.
Yep.
And so I think I bought the pizza cracker one and I was like, these are not as good. I love, do you know what Muddy Buddies are?
Yeah, that's the Chex Mix covered in chocolate and
peanut
powdered
butter.
Sugar.
Yes, covered in chocolate, peanut butter, and powdered sugar.
Yeah.
It is awesome. I have made it at home. It is wonderful. You don't have to put pretzels in it. Just a side note to the listener, viewer, no pretzels. You can just make it with the cereal. That's what I love about it.
That's right.
And they sell it, so I'll buy that sometimes. And then I buy candy bars. And you're like, well, where's the protein? I don't get my protein usually from the gas station. I have bought Slim Jims from gas stations for years.
That would be your protein source.
But I usually do that for a bit that I do during my set.
I do remember that.
Yeah. So
I remember those. Those mohawked kids in the front row.
Yeah, it's actually a joke I didn't tell, but they were in my back pocket, and I was like, I'm gonna throw it out.
He mentioned it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they
jumped
must have fallen out. So
yeah.
But so I love Mounds and Almond Joy, and so I love to get those. And
when I was a kid, there was nothing worse than the coconut in the Russell Stover thing. I would choose them, and then I would get cooking. I'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
but then I don't know what happened, man. When I turned 18, 19 years old, my tastes completely changed. I love coconut.
Oh yeah, yeah, I love it.
Love it.
It's so good. One of my favorite desserts is 7-layer bars.
Yes.
They are absolutely like they're tied with brownies with being like so good,
Yeah,
or
like,
just eating straight buttercream frosting. And these pralines are wonderful as well.
Note to self: black shirt.
Yeah.
Eating something.
Well, get you a graphic on there, and then that way you won't know
From now on
about the Whopper that I spilled on it earlier. So,
So the 7-layer, yeah, that was that's like butterscotch chips.
it's graham cracker, butterscotch, chocolate chips, coconut, sweetened condensed milk, and then there are pecans on there as well. Well, you can choose your nut. You can make it walnut. You make
Almonds or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, butter. Butter keeps the graham, so it's butter, graham cracker. Yeah. It's insane because you're making a graham cracker crust.
Now you do talk about, was it Ozempic? You talk about that?
Yeah. So I started that. I've struggled with weight my whole life, and forever I didn't do anything about it. Like I met my wife in college, and somehow she liked me anyway, and so I was fine with it. And then in like 2001, I went on Weight Watchers with her, and I lost like 88 pounds or something. I got down to like 180. It was awesome, but like 4 months into it, I had lost 50 pounds, and then she found out she was pregnant with our first kid.
Oh.
And so like 4 or 5 months into it. So it was like she had to quit Weight Watchers, and I stayed on it. And I hit my goal weight on Thanksgiving. It was insane. I couldn't believe it. And I know I had Thanksgiving dinner and still hit my goal weight. So, but I was doing
you
good.
You were burning calories.
I was
man.
doing
You were a
good, man.
machine.
I was exercising. I was going to the gym. It was great. And once you have kids, you're like, oh, this is a crap fest. And
I grew up poor, and wasting food is ingrained in me.
Oh, yeah.
So if they didn't finish, well, it started off, if you didn't finish your Happy Meal,
Yeah.
I was going to do it.
Yeah.
But then I found myself kind of going, so you going to finish it? Like I started looking forward to
Yeah.
the extra food,
Oh,
and I knew
of
that
course.
was a problem.
Of course. So I struggled with it, and I would get on and off on Weight Watchers and that sort of thing. I would try a few different things, and a buddy of mine, a comedian who looks like a catalog model, he was like, the one thing that I've always found works for me is intermittent fasting. And I looked at him. I said, "Do I look like I would do anything with the word fast in it? Like fasting seriously?" And so he told me about it, and probably a year later, I tried it, and it worked. And I did it for a few months, and it worked. And then I sort of petered out. And then last year, I started back up again, and I was losing weight, or maybe it was even the year before. But like I always struggle at the holidays,
Right.
and so my doctor, who is not thin, was giving me junk about it, and he was like, "Well." He'd been asking me to ask my insurance if they would pay for one of the diet shots. So, anyway, long story short, I am on the Ozempic and it works. But even on the Ozempic, I struggled at the holidays and gained some weight back. So, if you're looking at this going, he lost weight, I know, I get it.
No, actually, I was going to tell you, your dry bar, was it dry bar comedy special?
Yeah. I posted a clip.
Yeah, you are considerably
larger. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, not as suit jackets, they kind of disguise a bit, but your face is noticeably larger.
It's funny, I posted a clip within the last month or two, and my wife's like, I saw that clip the other day. You've really lost some weight, which, she knows anyway. She lives with me, so it's not like it's a secret because you can really tell from your dry bar clip. So, and when my dry bar came out, people who have no qualms about commenting on how fat people are
right.
would just rake me through the coals. I mean, like I can't believe he's still alive. I can't believe he didn't die through
God.
this. Yeah. Like
it's terrible.
And the funny part to me was, as the lady was putting the makeup on me, she was like, I said, I sweat profusely, and she goes, "Oh, this'll help." And so she sprays. She goes, "That'll keep you from sweating." I'm like, I just gave her a look like, sure it will. And so she takes snapshots during the show and shows me in between the two shows. She's like, "See, it worked." I'm literally looking at the picture going, can you not see my wet hair? Like, it wasn't wet when I went up there, but I was like, whatever. So,
Well, yeah, I had to do an acting thing. I did a Hanes Go Tagless commercial back in the day.
nice.
And I mean, I'm sitting in front of a fan between takes, and that was always the worst. Like, it almost just kind of not discouraged me from acting, but it really put me out of it.
Yeah.
Was thinking that I have to be so high maintenance that nobody's going to hire me because the first thing they're going to say is, yeah, make sure you have a fan and a towel and a.
Well, did you ever, I'm a big Letterman fan.
I love Letterman.
And if you ever watched him, he would joke about how cold the theater was.
Uh-huh.
I went to 3 different tapings.
Yeah.
And it was, and I think it was for him. I think he did it for him.
Yeah.
During commercial breaks, he would rip off his suit coat. He would take it off, and I think it made him comfortable. And, I performed this weekend in a distillery in the mountains in Virginia, and it was cold. It was like,
wow,
it was like, it was like 55, 60.
That's awesome for
like,
May.
Yeah, and they had the door open, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to have to wipe my face this whole show. It was awesome.
So cool.
Yeah, these 3 people that came to the show are and they don't have to watch me sweat to death. It was not 3, but it was not a ton more. And, yeah. So anyway, I've lost some weight, and I'm still on it. I still try. The problem I'm having these days is when I'm on the road, trying to eat. Like when you do intermittent fasting, have you ever done that or tried it?
I've tried it.
It's very hard.
It did work-ish, but my body loves to lose weight about 10 pounds immediately.
Yeah.
And then plateau for about 3 months.
Yeah.
And then give me another 10 pounds.
Right. You gain twice as much back as what you lost.
But no, I mean, like I can keep it that. So like if I were at 440, that was my heaviest. I topped out at 440. I'll go.
Jeez, I'm just.
Holy shit.
You. That makes
so
sorry.
I lose 10, and then I can hang at 430. God damn, I was about to make myself a lot bigger. 430 for another month, and then I'll lose, and I can hang at 420. So right now I sit here in front of you 409.
Yeah.
And I can't get it to go lower, but then I know if I just don't change a thing and I just keep trying to eat well,
yeah,
I'll be in the 3s as a gift. I don't know, like 2 months from now. My body's just so weird like that. It's kind of like, hey, that was our new homeostasis and you're wrecking shit.
Yeah.
And then
it
just lets me go, and then it does it again. And I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
the intermittent fasting, it's so funny. When I started it, I lost weight the first day. And so I was trying it to see, like, can I actually not eat breakfast and late at night? Because I'm a gold medal winner at eating.
Oh, so you're just going to do lunch. So
instead
of most people hold out to just dinner.
You have a window.
Okay.
And so you can pick your window. Your window can be breakfast and lunch. Your window can be one meal if you want to do that.
Right.
And but my window I chose was I eat between 1 and 7 p.m. So I eat for 6 hours, and I don't eat for 18. And then for those 18, you can have black coffee,
okay,
unsweet tea, or water. And I figured out I could have club soda. And so
and not plateau yourself or not.
Yeah. So it doesn't affect your.
Gotcha.
And so your what happens is your body is burning off your stored fat. It's using your stored fat for energy.
Gotcha.
So when you finish eating at 7 o'clock at night, your body's not really burning off the stored fat yet. It really is doing its number as it's getting close to the 1 o'clock the next day.
Right.
And so, like many times I've been like, I'm getting hungry. And so I'll like give in at noon or something like that. Cause a lot of people do like, don't eat for 16, they'll eat for 8. I'm like, well, maybe today I'll do like 7 or 8 hours of eating or whatever. But, and I've made jokes about it. Like, it's hard, but I do it. I'll eat for 6 hours straight. That's what I do. Like you gotta be dedicated. And, but it does work. And when you can get used to it, you're just used to it. I still don't like black coffee. I
don't drink coffee at all.
Yeah, so like black coffee is just so bitter, and I have friends that swear by it, and do they
do that bulletproof shit where they put? I mean, they
butter.
butter. The
Yeah.
bulletproof coffee
Some people do. I think I tried that once. I think I went and bought the kind of butter, and I was like, this is weird. And I love butter. Like, I'll put butter on anything.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
put butter on this, and it's got butter in it. I like butter, but like putting it in your coffee is like, yeah, this is weird. So, but anyway, I know this isn't the diet show, but it is.
Yeah, but this is you. Like,
Yeah.
I want, whatever you want to talk about.
But so I admire comedians that get on the road and they
hit the gym at the hotel.
hit the gym at the hotel, and then they go for a run, and then they're like, well, I had a kale salad, and all. Good for you. And I have done that. I have done exercising at the hotel. I do a lot of walking, and so gyms are intimidating to me, and I have injured myself so many times over the years not doing anything spectacular. I've broken my feet 8 times.
Really?
None of them are good stories. I broke my foot 4 or 5 days before I got married because I was washing dishes, and I stepped back, and there was a cat behind me. I stepped on the cat, but to keep from killing the cat, because I knew I would, I jumped in the air, and when I landed on my other foot and broke it.
Wow.
So I had broken my feet before, so it's sort of like...
There's always a weak spot?
Yes. I have broken the 4th and 5th metatarsal on both my feet. The score is 4-4. It's even. They're tied.
Excellent.
I really don't want to break the tie at this point.
Do not.
Yeah. But so anyway,
the Spider-Man socks while you're talking about breaking feet.
Yes.
The cat came, man. You should have hit the wall and stuck. What's
my
wrong,
gosh,
man?
I know. Oh, there's not. Listen, I am scared to death of spiders. It's the weirdest thing.
Oh, yes.
I'm scared to death of spiders. I love Spider-Man, but if I ever get bit by a spider, I'm not waiting 2 seconds before I go outside and see if I can climb a wall. I really am. Like,
do you remember Che?
Yes.
Che from
yes.
Honky Tonk.
Oh my gosh.
He had a picture of his pet spider on his screensaver, and we were walking out, and he
wanted to take a picture. He wanted to take a picture, like a selfie, and he holds his phone up, and there is, I don't even like the word, but there's a tarantula on his phone, and I like backed away.
Into me, and then you like apologized.
I'm like, dude,
I just was making sure you were okay, because he just bam.
I mean, because he did it almost like, hey, let me show you something. I'm like, that is not something that we show people. Like, I get mad when people post pictures of those online. I'm like,
no, it's true. That's the arachnophobia, like true arachnophobia.
Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. I've gotten a little better as I've become older.
Right.
But, like I remember this man I know told me, it was like, well, it's an irrational fear. I'm like, not really.
Nothing irrational.
I was like, technically all spiders are poisonous. Some of them, the poison is not venomous enough or whatever, poisonous enough to like get you, or their mouths aren't big enough to get you. Like granddaddy longlegs are poisonous, but they can't sting you, bite you, whatever. So, but a tarantula is like the scariest thing to me ever. And
a spider with bat's teeth. That just doesn't make any sense.
That's hairy. That's
fangs.
big and hairy.
It doesn't need fangs.
Yeah.
It doesn't need teeth. Why does it need teeth?
I was in, so I went on a play date. Me and this other mom, she had her 2 boys, and I had.
Good. There was kids.
There was kids there. Yeah. My wife knew, and so we're on this play date. We went to this kids museum, and we're in the butterfly house, and so it's like the jungle, and it's very humid, and there's butterflies everywhere, and it's part of this sort of insect building kind of thing. And I've been in it before. And they have a bird-eating tarantula in a cage, in a glass case over here in the inside part. And so this guy who works there starts talking, and his wife and my wife work together. We realized this. And so we're talking to him, and I said something about, like, y'all don't ever take that bird-eating tarantula out, do you? He's like, no. We have another one we take out. I said, don't. I was
no, actually, that's a stuffy. We ain't seen him in 3 weeks.
Yeah, he's like, no, we have a different one that we bring out. And I was like, okay, well, don't do that. And so we leave the butterfly house and we go into the insectatorium or whatever you call it. And, again, I've gotten better. They've got like orb web spiders. Those are the ones that make the zippers. And those are sort of out freely. But they're not going to do anything. Like, they have a setup where it's like, they're here, they've built their web, they're not coming for you, this is what they do, blah, blah, blah. Right. There's Mr. Evil in that case over there. They got a big thing of Madagascar, roaches, like the giant ones, the giant ones. And out of the corner of my eye, I look, and here comes the guy I've been talking to coming out from the back room, and he is holding said tarantula. And I have never pushed over more kids and people in my life. And the fastest fat man you've ever seen sprint out of it. Left my kid, didn't even grab my kid, left the lady and her 2 kids and ran outside. And the lady, my friend, says, yeah, he walked up and he goes, well, I guess he wasn't kidding. And she goes, no, he wasn't.
Right. He's like, oh, that guy's kidding. He just wants to pet one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No,
never.
he told you.
Yeah.
He told you.
Yeah.
No.
Like it is a huge fear. I saw a comedian, Tony Baker. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
I have.
And he posted a video recently. He also has this problem, but he sucked it up, went to like a pet store and let one crawl across his hand. And I'm like, way better than me, dude. Like I don't have the stones to do that. Like my fear is genuine. I have that fear of heights as well. And when I'm up high, it like you get this feeling in your legs, like your legs have suddenly become spaghetti.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I think I'm gonna die. I'm gonna fall, and that sort of thing. So it's not that in my legs. It is like I literally get the spider sense, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna die. This is terrible. I will scream like a girl,
and you can't ignore it. Like
No.
it's real to you.
It is 100% real. And when I see videos of people like getting out of their car and leaving it and letting it go because there was a spider in their car, I'm like, I get it. I totally get it. It's like, but I
million comments, idiot. You're like, I refuse.
Done the
I refuse
same.
to call them an idiot.
Yeah,
That's not true.
She's my hero. I love her. Yeah, she and we're kindred. So yeah. I love it. So anyway,
I didn't have any fears. I really don't. I'm not afraid of really anything except I got claustrophobia out of nowhere. I was working at EMS. Well, I mean, I do work in EMS, but I was working particularly for 911.
Yeah.
And we
I've
rolled
heard
up
of
on a it's very popular.
Yeah,
there's one
they
in
sound
every.
familiar, yeah.
There's one in like every state.
They got old
the
TV
whole-
shows on it. It's awesome.
Whole thing. And I rolled up on a car accident, and everybody's fine in this one. It's a rainy road, and people are just crashing for fun, I guess. And we roll up on one. So then we hear about another one about a mile around the corner. So my partner, she says, hey, I'm going to ride with the other unit up to that one. When you get their signatures, she got to sign a refusal.
Yeah.
When you get their signatures, the officer's going to run you up to meet us. We say, no problem. So I do that, and I come around, and I'm like, all right, got my signatures. And I go to get in the front seat. He goes, no, you can't get in the front seat. He's like, my stuff's there. You got to get in the back.
Of the patrol car.
So I get in back of the patrol car, and I mean, the cage is here. So I'm like crunched up. Now I realize that the doors don't open from the inside. That's the way it works in a cop car.
Of course. Yeah.
And my brain goes, dude, cars are crashing on this road all over the place. If somebody rolls us off into the woods, I'm like, I can't even do anything.
Yeah.
I'm stuck. And my brain just went, I'm going to die. Like, it was so crazy. I'd never really had claustrophobia. You could stick me just about anywhere. I slept in vans. I slept in closets. I didn't care.
Yeah.
But man, that was something that was just like, and then it took me a while. Like, I would think about it, and it would just like
it'll give you a pan. I have that too. I have claustrophobia. I didn't know I had it, but I remember an incident like in 6th grade where I had to do something and I get in a small space. They were like, well, you have to crawl. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. And so I didn't get to watch Old Yeller that day. I'm not making that up. That's 100% true. And they were having a haunted house, and they were like, so what we're going to do is have a box, and they got to crawl through this small box. And I'm like, nope, not
And
doing
what, like
it.
the other side, it just opens up into like a small movie theater?
Yeah, or something. Yeah, it's weird. And
you want to go see the movie?
But so here's the thing. I love horror movies. I love them.
Too.
I watch them all the time. One of my favorites is called The Descent. You ever seen it?
The Descent.
It is 6 ladies that go spelunking. And when you go spelunking, when you go cave diving, you're supposed to know where you're going and have a plan and everything. And the one who told them, oh yeah, she was lying. She didn't have a map or a plan or anything. And it gets creepy with creatures in the second half of the movie. But literally, they go from the first cave they enter into another cave. But to get to it, they have to crawl through a hole.
Okay.
And it starts collapsing in on them. And
ooh, yeah.
the first time I watched this, I watched it at home, and I had to pause the movie because I think I was having a panic attack on the couch watching this thing. The claustrophobia, and I think it's because I'm big, and so I'm always of the mind of like, I'm always in the way. I'm
Oh,
always
yeah. Oh,
I'm
yeah.
always too big. You may be familiar with this feeling of
Yeah,
like,
I go to a lot of concerts and I sit like
Yeah,
this
yeah,
to not
yeah.
block the people behind
yeah.
me.
Well, and you're super tall, so I don't have that. I'm just like, I'm always thinking I'm in the way. I'm always
Right.
thinking like, even if I do lose weight, I still like, yeah. We don't have enough time for me to talk about all my problems. But anyway, so I will tell you, The Descent is a wonderful horror movie, and if you have claustrophobia, when they're going through the little tunnel, maybe it's a good time to go for a pee break if it bugs you too much. But it's worth it. It's so good.
You said you lived in Virginia for a time?
No, I was born in Memphis, Tennessee,
Okay.
and then we moved to North Carolina. I've lived in
Okay,
North
that's right.
Carolina ever since. I was in Virginia this past weekend doing a show.
You ever been to Luray Caverns?
I was just near there. I have not been.
It is really awesome. It's wonderful. There's also a car museum and a hedge maze.
Mm.
But Luray Caverns is like, it's a conglomeration of so many things that make sense. You really want to go there. You're like, man, I love being under here looking at these stalactites and stalagmites. I would really like to recreate The Shining after this, and then also see Bonnie and Clyde's, shot up automobile.
That is so good.
And so
That is so good.
But when you get under there, it's wonderful. You get to see a lot of cool things, but then there's a part you walk through, you start really thinking about plate tectonics. You're like, that's it. Like this entryway, that you're like,
Yeah.
And then you're like, no, we're gonna have fun. We're gonna pay attention. We're gonna buy a magnet in the gift shop after this because we felt like we survived. But yeah, it is. You start really thinking about that when you're in like caves or anything. So I don't think spelunking would ever be on my to-do list.
No. Well, to get down there, they had to belay down there, down the hole.
Oh yeah.
They weren't like, let's walk into the entrance. They're like, here's the hole.
When they drop, they have the rope thing going around them, and then like their stopping thing is like clenching their fist under their butts.
Right.
That's gonna break my freaking hand off.
Yeah,
I'm gonna come up looking like Luke Skywalker. That's insane.
Every bit of it's terrible.
I don't understand how anybody. I don't know how can you rappel? You have to literally weigh nothing.
Yeah.
Because that's how you stop it. But I guess it's not. I guess the way it's wrapped around you. I always watch it, very fascinated. I'm like, I don't even think I could like do that as like a joke in a skit.
Yeah.
I think I would die.
Yeah. It looks. But that's the thing. Like some things are made for some people, some things are not.
True.
Not for me. Not for me.
So I'm sure you wanted to sit here. We don't have a therapy session and talk about your fears the whole
I
entire
just saw
time.
my therapist today. I'm good.
Right.
I'm good.
But no, let's turn it back to something cool, like from a tragedy and fears and back into comedy. So you have a lot of shows on your website. You are gigging out all over the place. Is there any market, is there any club that has ever eluded you? Like do you have a dream of playing any
all of
place?
them? I feel like they elude me. Like I'm not. I still have to go out there and send my avails to people in hopes to get booked. I have sent stuff to people that I've sent stuff to places that had me and they liked me, and then they don't contact me back, and I'm like, well, maybe they didn't like me or whatever. But I have performed once in New York City. I did the World Series of Comedy years ago.
Awesome.
And while I was there in Vegas doing the World Series of Comedy, this guy comes up at the end of a show. He says to one of the comics that was on the show we were in, hey, they're doing this line of greeting cards written all by comedians. And he says to this other guy, I think your jokes would be great for our line of cards. Here's my card, hit me up. If you have any submissions, that would be great.
Right.
And he looks at me and goes, are you a comedian too? I was like, I was in the same show he was. So he goes, well, I'd feel bad if I didn't offer it to you. Well, the other guy never submitted or they didn't like his stuff, but I did. And I got I had probably 8 to 10 cards in the line at some point. And the first year, one of my cards got nominated for the Oscars of the greeting card.
Really?
And so I got to go to New York, and they were having a stationary convention. So they booked out Caroline's, and I got to go perform at Caroline's.
See, now that's one, right?
And because I loved it. It was awesome. People always ask me, what's the furthest place you've traveled? I'm like, well, I've been to Calgary, Canada, and I've been to the Bahamas and done those gigs. And technically I did one time in California. I've been out to Vegas and done the World Series of Comedy.
Awesome.
And I even got to do a guest spot at a club while I was there where it wasn't part of the, the World Series of Comedy thing. You know, and but like I haven't been up to like Seattle or Portland and that part of the
Right.
country.
The Northwest.
I do get corporate. I do a lot of corporate gigs because I work clean. So I've been to, you know, South Dakota and Minnesota and that sort of thing. I show up and I'm like February, you know,
Right in there. It's
and like,
cold.
oh, I'm gonna die. This is awesome.
It
Me and a
is
buddy did
cold.
a series of gigs. He went with me. We drove up to Wisconsin and did like a week's full of gigs. Maybe it's like 5 or 6 shows, and snow was everywhere.
Yeah.
But the people up north know how to handle it, so it was no big deal. But we did stay in a barn, and it was all converted. But to get to the performance space, which was another barn right beside it, we had to walk through this gangplank outside, and I thought we were gonna die just walking from one to the other. I mean, it was cold. So
I performed on the Canadian border in a place called Malone, New York. It was -6 degrees when they dropped me off at this airport. It had a capacity of 92 people, this small little airport, and my breath was frozen in 2 lines on my mustache. And I had only ever seen that in the movies.
yeah.
And I was like, oh my God,
This
that's
is
real.
Yeah.
So that was the coldest gig I had ever done.
When I did the shows up in Canada, I was doing there at New Year's, and he goes, "Hey, listen, don't go out tomorrow."
That's it.
Like one of the days, he goes, "It's supposed to be dangerously cold. Like if you're outside for more than 15 minutes, you could get frostbite. So just don't go out tomorrow if you don't mind."
Just
Like,
stay in.
oh, okay. You know, but for the most part, they're like moving, like driving in the snow. They don't care. I mean, we had 2 shows on New Year's Eve, and people were standing in knee deep snow waiting in line.
And it was packed. This place was
Yeah.
packed, even
Yeah.
though it was snow covered, everything. And yeah, they're like, "Pff, watch this."
Exactly. So they don't care, and I love that about people up north is how they are not thrown. Whereas, at least where I live in Raleigh, North Carolina, if they walk out and it smells like it's going to snow,
Yeah,
they go ahead and cancel school.
here too.
Yeah, it's because they're like, oh, this can't be. You're
Yeah.
like, oh,
In
come on.
Charleston, South Carolina, it snowed the first winter I was here, and it was the first time they had snow in something like 10 or 11 years. And I was on Interstate 26. I was working for Edible Arrangements,
Oh,
and I was driving their refrigerated van.
yeah.
And there was nobody on 26 for as far as you could see, front, back, all 3 lanes. So I said, when am I ever going to get the opportunity to do this? So I'm going dee dee dee
Ow.
dee dee bim bim, and I'm going through all 3 lanes, just having fun. So finally, I reach my exit and I drive off, and then I get to the light, and now I'm start laughing because I'm thinking somebody's coming behind me, and they're like, "Whew, whew, whew, I can do this, I can do this," and then they're driving, and all of a sudden they're like, "Ah!"
That is exactly what I thought when you were telling that. Somebody's going to come up and see those tracks and be like, what is happening?
Oh my God, I'm gonna die.
Cop pulls up. Why did you pull over? How long you been sitting here? Hours. Did you see the other guy before
Oh
me?
my God!
Yeah.
And you don't even see him. He's gone.
Yeah.
He disintegrated.
That's awesome.
I didn't even think about it till I got to the light, and
So
I was
good.
like, oh man, I just really ruined somebody's brave moment.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
So I have these shelves here.
Yep.
Like I said, my Patreon peeps, this was the cookie jar my Grammy had. That's Freddy Krueger's glove. This is the cookie jar my Grammy had growing up.
Nice.
My son, you've got the flux capacitor above your head and all that stuff.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So, but basically, these are just little things, and they're mine, and they can go. They can stay. That lunchbox is the shit. They can stay, they can go, they can swap out. But one of the things I'm encouraging my guests, and you being my very first one, thank you so much,
Oh,
by
yeah.
the way, is to bring me something to decorate my shelves with. I would love this to be just a collection of everything that they could say, oh, this is a bobblehead of me, or this is whatever they've got. But I know you're a graphic artist. I know that you sold stuff at your shows.
So yeah, I'm actually I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Graphic Design. I got a degree at University of North Carolina at Greensboro. And I used to make the yellow pages. I'm a good graphic designer, but I also I hit my step goal. There we go. Oh, see you later. So I'm a graphic designer, and I'm fairly good at it, but I can also draw. I've been able to draw since I was a kid, and that's why I went and got an art degree to begin with.
Awesome.
So I like to draw using color pencil. I don't know, like I tried to paint. I'm not horrible at it, but I'm also not great at it. So I did take a class with a guy after college who is Bob Ross certified, and I have paintings in my house that I painted, and they do look like Bob Ross painted them.
Nice.
So I can do that, but that's also because I watched Bob Ross as a kid,
Oh, yeah.
and I already knew how to make happy little trees.
My
So,
grandma Kennedy would paint alongside him. She
Yes.
was one of those people who grabbed out the easel and would paint alongside
it
him.
was awesome.
Yep.
So, so I have drawn over the years. I love drawing comic book stuff, but a couple of years ago, getting close to like 9 years, a buddy of mine, he's like, hey, we should have like a sketch off online. So we started, and I told him this is a bad idea. He's like, no, we'll both post something. I said, I'm pretty good at this. And he's like, no, it'll be fine. And 2 days into it, he's like, this is a terrible idea. But we were drawing like comic book stuff. And so we would pick a topic and we both would draw it. And that's how I ended up with the Fozzie Bear that I drew, because I was like, all right, we both pick a Muppet. And so that, like, we were doing like just graphite pencil. And I was like, I want to see if I can make this look real. I don't want to draw a black and white Fozzie Bear. I want to, so I did. I made it look real. It was awesome.
I thought it was a picture.
Right, but it is a drawing. And so we petered out, and the next year I picked up and started drawing animals, and they're and other stuff. So so one of the first, anyway, so I started drawing animals. So I use color pencil and I try to make it look realistic. Now, I don't know if this shows up well or not because they're in cellophane, but this is like a horse I found.
Gotcha. Yeah, I can't tell, but I mean, we'll just play around with the. Yeah.
And I did this one for there was this.
That is awesome.
I did this for a benefit show.
It kind of looks like Max. Kind of looks like our.
I did it for a benefit show. It was for cats, and I was the MC. And the woman who hired me knew what I do, and she goes, "Any chance you draw a cat and we could auction it off?" So these are just prints that I've had made of some of this stuff. I drew this tiger. It was pretty awesome.
Very cool.
I drew this chimp. This is my first time I drew something on black paper.
Wow.
And then, but this is the one everybody really loves because they're like, wow, that looks just like a picture.
It does.
And when you draw with color pencil, the way it works is if it's supposed to be white, you don't color it. Problem is the white was so small, I'd colored over it, so I had to figure out how you put white over top of color pencil because it's a waxy substance.
Oh,
and
yeah,
you can't,
yeah.
And the white color pencil is used for blending. It's not used for white. And then I did this one a couple of years ago, just a few years ago, because I love horror movies. And so I thought this might be the one that you choose. But I figured you could just pick whichever one you want, and keep one of them, your choice.
I do like that a lot.
Yeah. So
I like that, and I like the chimp.
Yeah. Feel free, pick one.
No, what do you think? I'll ask my producer, my son. Which one of these? You like this one? I do too. I'm gonna keep the scary guy.
Yeah,
Actually,
The
I'm
creeper.
gonna wind up putting him right there by the lunchbox that you had commented
Yeah,
that you
yeah,
like
yeah.
so much. So that's gonna go there. So
Awesome.
starting next episode, if you tune in, you'll see it represented there. I want to make sure that I can get it. I'd put it up there right now, but I want to make sure I can get it
Yeah.
where the glare's not picking it up.
Like I only have it in bags. That way, when I hand them out, when I sell them to people, my fingerprints aren't on them. Their fingerprints aren't on them. Then they take them home, frame it, or
Yeah, and I probably would try and find a frame or find a hard plastic
Yeah.
kind of sleeve.
Yep.
Like you put the comic books
Oh,
in
yeah.
or something like that, like those real stiff ones.
Yep.
So yeah, thank you so much for
Oh,
that,
yeah.
man. That is an incredible gift. For that, I will give you a box of Pralines.
Well, I feel bad for taking them all, so I
please.
feel like I should leave some with you and Ben over here who won't eat it, and so yeah, I appreciate you having me, man. Thanks for the snack.
Please follow Andy on Comic Big A.
My nickname
comicbiga.com.
is My nickname is Big A, and I'm a comic, so Comic Big A.
.com.
It's like that it's my website. That's all my handles on all my social media.
There you go. And he's on all social media, so find him on there. You can find out where he's playing nearby you. Please go out and check him out. I worked with him. He is hilarious and incredibly animated and just a great time. Honestly, a great time. So I want you to check him out. And also, come back next week. And also, please, you are welcome back anytime. The next time you are at Dreamers, like I said, not only would I promote it, but also, man, I'd have you right back here.
Yeah, I'd love
in
to.
the Snack Yak Studios.
We
sitting
could get
on
Ben
the,
to talk to us.
Yeah, we'll get him a mic. We'll
Yeah.
start to try and pull him into it. But anyway, thank you, everybody, and take care.
Y'all are awesome. Thank you.
So many snacks. So many snacks. Hi. Well, thank you for watching another episode of Snackin Yakkin. Do you want to be one of these names scrolling up the screen right now? Or maybe one of these photos in the frame right here? Well, it's very simple. You just join our Patreon. That's patreon.com/Snackin Yakkin. Membership levels start at $5 and go up to $15, and there's more perks the higher that you go. And let's face facts, you'd probably spend $5 on Starbucks or Subway next month anyway, right? But for your membership, it helps this show go, go, go. So thank you so much for stopping by patreon.com/Snackin Yakkin. And now, consider watching one of these 2 videos right here and going through the channel because there's plenty of show to go. And thank you for coming with me on my journey as I do some more